In this video, we're going to look at the setup of rebate agents in REI Master. First thing we're going to have a look at is the setup of the agent in here. I'm going to use Booking.com as our rebate agent example. So we've got an agent set up already. Literally all we've done is add in a record for the agent. That's all we really need to do here. The next thing we need to make sure, because of the way rebate agents work, of course, where you are collecting the money from the guest and then you are passing on the commission to the agent. What we need to do, of course, is make sure we've got set up an account code for the commission. I've got one set up here previously for Booking.com commission. I've got there, and as an expense. What we now do is go into the bookings. The way rebate agents work in REI Master, we actually set up a rate for Booking.com for it to calculate the commission based on the accommodation amount. First thing we need to do is put in rate charges. So in here we've got a few charges already that we use on our rates. We're going to put in two charges in here. One will be deducting an amount of money from accommodation and replacing it as commission. So we're using the percentage side of things when we're doing these rates, these charges here. So we're going to add a charge in here. Now who will be charged will be the guest, or the accommodation on the guest there. It's going to be a percentage in there. It will be a com adjust in this case, because what we want to do is take some monies off the accommodation. So we select the account there, and this is, as I say, taking monies away, so it'll be a negative amount. I use 15% as an example. I think that's a fairly common one for Booking.com. So this charge rule will apply once per stay and will apply it per room. We're also going to indicate that this charge is part of an accommodation package. So we save that charge there, and we'll have our one showing here as an common adjust for a negative amount. You can see negative because it shows in the brackets. Our second charge is then reapplying that 15% as Booking.com commission. So if I add that one in, again the guest is charged. It's a percentage there, and our description, Booking.com commission. Our account will be the Booking.com commission account code we set up earlier, and then this is the application of the 15% there. Again, it applies once per stay per room, and again it will be part of an accommodation package. Who receives this money in this case then will be the supplier or the agent, and we select them there from our list of information. So when the charges are applied, we are deducting, as I mentioned, 15% from the accommodation, and we're going to reapply it as Booking.com commission there. So again, these are two charges we've inserted. We're actually going to join these together as a package. So again, we'll go to our View Packages option. Got a couple of ones set up there. We're going to add a package. Again, this one will be Booking.com. Highlight the package, and then we link those two charges we've added in. So in here we'll go and we select the common adjust one, and we also select the Booking.com one. So now it's a bit easier to see here where we are deducting 15% from the accommodation, reapplying it as Booking.com commission. We've got it set in that package there. So we've set up our charges. What we now need to do is set up a rate for Booking.com. So we're going to our rates here. It's going to add one in as a 2-bed 2-night Booking.com rate. So if I add a further one in, 2-bed 2-night, and then again, as I say, very clear that it's a Booking.com one. Our room type, 2-bedder, tariff plan, 2-bed 2 nights, agent, Booking.com. We'll tick to say we're going to override the commission and advertising charges on the room and the cleans and linens, of course. Save our rate, and now we'll go in and apply our charges and housekeeping. So in here we can select a charge package. The first one, of course, is to make sure that the management get their appropriate fees. And we also now are adding a second charge package, which is the Booking.com ones in there. So there's a number of charges now applied to this Booking.com rate. The first 4 here are just our standard charges for the rate. It's these two here that make it the Booking.com rate there. Let's just add our housekeeping package as well for the 2-bedder. And what we've now got is a rate set up for Booking.com. So we can see here our 2-bed 2-night Booking.com rate set up, clearly listed as a Booking.com agent there. So let's have a look at the application of that rate on a booking. We'll just pop one in here in our 2-bedder for a couple of nights in there. I'll put me in as a guest. What we then select, of course, is the agent as Booking.com. We've got our information there, a couple of adults in for that one there, and then selecting of the rate. And importantly, we select the Booking.com one there, of course. Okay, so our our accommodation is clearly listed there. Now if I save my changes, now based on the rate that I've selected and the fact that it has additional charges on there, i.e. the deduction of 15% from accommodation and the reapplication of it as Booking.com commission, what we'll see in the account area here is an accommodation amount $890 based on the tariffs that are applied. We then have an accommodation adjust or a credit there, deducting 15% from our $890 and then reapplying it as Booking.com commission there. So what we can see is our account balance or outstanding amount is still $890, but some of it is going to be accommodation and some of it is going to be our sundries or Booking.com commission. And we can see it here. Accommodation due is now $756.50 and our sundries $133.50 being the Booking.com commission. Okay. So let's have a look then at how that reveals itself when we receipt it. We do a receipt, we'll just pay the full amount off, $890 on there. So what we can see is the accommodation $756.50, the Booking.com commission of $133.50. We'll just pop it on a guest's card as an example. So here's the receipt we're presented with, and it shows as a payment received for an accommodation package for $890. So there's our transaction lines as we could see on the receipt there. We'll check them in. We'll check them out. And we'll now have a look at how that appears in the agent area and on the owner's statement. So if we go into the agents area for Booking.com and on the account tab for Booking.com, we clearly see then commission available to be posted to them or dispersed to them as part of our next end of month or disbursement that we do. The owner of the room what they see on there is the accommodation amount less the commission, so the net amount of accommodation, and then their charges are applied accordingly to that net amount of accommodation monies. So the manager's commission and advertising, the starter pack, and our depart clean and linen that apply as part of that rate. So in this video we've looked at the setup of rebate agents, the setting up of charges and a rate for them, and how that appears on the booking and the owner and agent areas.